Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. I'd also like to announce that we just engaged in a partnership with WeCoach. Go to wecoachsports.org for more information. If you coach a women's team or if you're a woman at any level of coaching, they are there to support our work in helping build women's athletics across the country at all levels. We're very excited about that. But this week we're talking about first things first. And if you live in Cleveland and you watched football yesterday, you're probably not having a great day. I personally am a Steelers fan. However, I do root for the Browns living in the Cleveland area when they're not playing the Steelers, but yesterday was painful. They had a 13-point lead with less than 2 minutes to go against the Jets. However, the Jets are led by Joe Flacco, who has won a lot of games in the last 2 minutes of a game. But boom, there it went. A blown coverage down the sideline, a 70-yard pass, and a touchdown within the last couple minutes of the game when the Browns, half the stands had left. They thought it was over. How does this happen? Well, it happened on a blown coverage, but we could say that maybe Cleveland's problems happened in the offseason with some new acquisitions on the roster, but we won't go there. But more than anything, throughout the game, there are a lot of things that could have changed it, of course. A missed extra point by a guy who hit a 58-yarder to win it the week before. Or catches in the middle of the field where they hit guys in the hands and they drop them. Like, how do these simple things miss in execution? Does it happen right as the ball's hitting the hands, or does a mistake happen before the ball is even thrown in the air? Those are the questions. How can we execute? The problem a lot of times with these guys that miss the pass, and I'm no football player, but you can see it with your own eyes, it's like they're trying to catch it and run at the same time. I remember years ago, someone was questioning our lineup, of course, like that never happens to any of you, and they said, how can that kid play left field or center field or wherever she was at the time? She had the yips, so she had a hard time throwing, particularly when it didn't matter. Like sometimes she could whip it when she didn't have any chance to think about it, right? You've seen the yips happen. But I remember succinctly and very quickly saying, it does not matter if you can throw the ball if you cannot catch it. So my money was on the fact that she was going to at least make the out. She was going to track it down and then we would go from there. Because you cannot run with the ball if you don't have the ball. So the first thing first is to execute the first step. If you've had an opportunity to read the book, You Can Make Every Putt by Dr. Joe Parent, it's a great book. Talks about how you can make every putt. Now, how can you make every putt? Come on. You're not going to make every putt. A quarterback can send a great pass and a defender can tip it. Or a receiver can take one step too far. But does that mean that the pass was a bad pass? No. A soccer player can make a great pass and it can hit a blade of grass and send it this way. A kicker can kick it at First Energy Stadium on the lake in Cleveland, and a big gust of wind can come. Trust me, they're big. And it goes over and it just tips the upright. Just at that right second. Are these failed executions? The question is, can you make every play? Can you make every shot? Can you make every pass? And you can make every pass or shot. Does that mean that they're going to get the outcome you want? No. But the problem with the guys the other day when we were watching, or yesterday, the ball is there and they're not thinking about being there. They say we live in 3 time zones. We live in the future, we live in the past, there's 2, and we live in the present. Well, the bad thing about it is we spend more time in the future and in the present in the past than we do in the present. And the present is the only thing that we really have control over. Now, granted, we have to go back and forth between our time zones in order to get all the information that we need. But if we're trying to execute, we've got to put those in order. First things first. So how do we do that? In order to avoid mistakes with all the power that we have to be able to execute. But execution starts in preparation. How do we prepare? One thing that we talk about a lot is, right, we say it. We see it, and then we go and we do it. We make a plan. We lay out what's going to happen. For instance, I'm going to go up 5 yards and I'm going to cut. And when the ball gets here, this is what I'm going to do. If I then catch it, which is going to give me the yardage that some of the yardage at least that we needed, then I can turn and run. So I've done the first thing first. I've made my plan. I've decided exactly where I need to be. I know exactly what that looks like. I know what it feels like. I know what I need to do. Then I need to turn and I need to be present in that moment and trust and commit to the fact that I am where I need to be. If the ball's there, great. If it's not, there's nothing I can do about it. If I'm right there and I can see the ball coming into my hands and a guy comes over out of nowhere and tips it, there's nothing I can do. I execute it. If I catch the ball and I tuck it and a guy comes up, I act like I know what I'm talking about with football, right? I played in my backyard all the time. I'm an expert. But I tuck it and a guy comes in his helmet and knocks it out. Did I ruin that play? No, I executed. The point is this, that we can make every pitch. We can make every swing. We can make every pass if we follow a process. A, B, C. A, then B, then C. We are in the future, making our plan, deciding what the best execution is, where we are with what we have. We're going to do that. And then we go into it, we're ready. We have seen it, or we've said it to ourselves, we have seen it in our mind's eye, and now we're ready to go and execute it and commit and trust that that plan will work. It's not about what if or what that or whatever. It is, this is our plan. When the snap is called, this is what I'm going to do. And when I get there, this is what I'm going to do. And then when I get there, this is what I'm going to do. Sequential plans that we have seen and played in our head before we even got there. Then when we get there, we trust. We don't need to think. Because as soon as we think, we miss the ball because we're thinking about running the other way. We don't need to think and execute. Is my hand at the right spot? Am I going to get my finger over the ball to get the drop ball to go down? Am I going to drive far enough? Am I? We think about the plan before we do it. We trust it when it's time. And then when it's over, we can evaluate our execution. And we can feel good about the fact that if we followed the plan, regardless of the outcome, that we did our job. We did our job. In fact, we probably gave ourselves the opportunity, because we were focused and in the moment and trusting that if something did go wrong, that we could recover. Say someone tipped it and then they went to get it. Well, now I can at least make the tackle because I'm there. I'm not thinking about what else or what went wrong. Oh my gosh, I blew it. No, I'm still engaged. I did my job. Now what? What's important now? But how do we evaluate after? We know we did our job. We were focused. We were present. We had our plan and we executed the plan. It either went the way we thought it should, or it didn't. And if it didn't, now what do we say? Instead of saying, what is wrong with me? Here we go. I can't believe I blew that. And then taking that and let it affect the next play, we can say, what other factors should I have paid attention to? Is there something I can learn from the situation? Was there something that I missed that will allow me to do it better the next time? We are now asking good, curious questions. And questions lead us to solutions, as opposed to staying in the past and ruminating on our mistakes. So we started in the future, our future tense, our future time zone, where we're making our plan and we're preparing ourselves. If we're not prepared, we can't execute. We execute in the present. We're not worried about the outcome, because if we're thinking about catching the ball or what happens after I catch the ball, if I think about what happens after I catch the ball, I'm not thinking about catching the ball. I cannot be focused on the process and the outcome at the same time. I can only be focused on one thing at a time. So now we're in the present. The present is over, the play is over, it goes whichever way it goes, and now we go into our past time zone and we evaluate it from an objective point of view, saying that I executed or I didn't execute. I wasn't focused. Okay, what do I need to do a better job at that the next time? So this allows us, with a clear mind and a one time zone at a time process, to execute the play, the skill, the thing that our body knows how to do, that our mind gets in the way of. You know as well as I do that thinking while we're trying to execute is not the answer. Thinking before we execute and having a plan and living it first, feeling it first, mind moving it first, mental rehearsal first, whatever you want to call it, and then going out and doing it, and then going to our past time zone and pulling it up again and asking good, curious questions, not judgmental questions, helps us keep moving forward. It keeps us in those 4 P's. We're being present, right? We're staying positive and productive. It probably changes our posture. It's like, okay, I did my job. Here I go. And it keeps us following that process. So if we can move through our time zones, first things first, future, plan, present, execution, past, respond, review, and then circle it back around, our performance will improve. So we can't run before we have the ball. We can't throw somebody out unless we catch it. First things first. If we can keep it that simple, it'll be great. I know it's easier said than done. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. But getting our athletes to start to think in that way. How can you get yourself in the best possible situation for success? It is to have preparation with commitment and trust, and then go out and do what you say you're going to do, and then evaluate it with good, curious, information-seeking questions that can help us learn from every opportunity. I'd love to talk with your team about getting them into future, present, and past time zone work in the right order and in the right amount of time. Email me at juliej@ssbperformance.com. Until next week, manage the moments and have a great week.